Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Jason Flame, host of the Master Motivation Podcast. Today's a pretty cool day. It's 10:10 at 10 a.m., October 10th, right? 2025 at 10 a.m. I thought that was kind of unique, kind of a cool thing to shout out. But guys, I'm looking forward to an amazing conversation with Suzanne today, bringing the motivation, education, and inspiration through our interview today. So let me introduce her very quickly. This is Suzanne Taylor-King. She is a trailblazing eudaimonologist, executive coach, and high performance athlete with over 35 years of entrepreneurial experience and multiple successful business exits. With more than 20 certifications in health, wellness, and business growth, she empowers visionary leaders and entrepreneurs to achieve extraordinary success inside and out. Suzanne blends practical business strategy with powerful mindset and wellness practices rooted in positive psychology. Her coaching philosophy centers on eudaimonia, living a life of true fulfillment and purpose. She helps high-performing individuals over 40 rediscover their genius, elevate their performance, and create lasting impact in every area of their life. Suzanne, did I nail the name? Did I get it right?
It was close.
It was
close.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Well, hey, thanks for being on the show. We've been looking forward to this for quite some time because I think we actually scheduled this last year and then I had to take a little hiatus, but we got you back on the schedule and we got you here on the show. How is life? How are things going? Tell me what's going on.
Well, life is amazing. I told you before we went live, I was thinking about, do I really want to be on camera today with a giant scab on my face? Yeah, I don't care. So it was, life. I don't let things hold me back in life, whether it's illness, stress, injury like I have right now. And I've had so many as an athlete, as an entrepreneur, so many negative setbacks that I just don't allow to hold me back. And I think that's like a gift for me, being in this entrepreneurial space for so long, to actually learn from those mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Well, again, really excited to have this conversation today. If it were me, I would just say, you should see what the other guy looks like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in my profession, that's probably true.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Okay, so you call yourself a
Eudaimonologist.
eudaimonologist. That's such a unique title. Can you share with us what that means, how it shapes your approach to coaching and in life?
Well, I kind of made it up. I added eudaimonia is an ancient Greek philosophy, I would say, of life, and it directly corresponds in positive psychology with human flourishing. So when I learned about the connection between the two after studying positive psychology and dabbling in Stoic philosophy, and the connection between the two really fascinated me. And so I dove into a little bit of Stoicism here. And what I found was this idea of human flourishing, even though negative events happen, even though grief happens, setbacks happen, you can still be a happy, fulfilled person. And that just stuck with me so much. So rather than call myself a life coach for entrepreneurs, rather than call myself, a positive psychology person, I thought, what if I marry this eudaimonia, the pursuit of human flourishing? What if I take that and absorb that into my job title and really plant a stake in the ground and stand for entrepreneurs taking better care of themselves? Because I lived in that space of not taking care of myself as an entrepreneur, working too much, all the things, and it didn't get me anywhere. So this was really about me just deciding that that's a non-negotiable for me as an entrepreneur.
Well, you say you made it up, but I mean, a lot
Mhm.
of thought went into
Yes.
it,
Yes.
and we're always looking for an opportunity to set ourselves apart from everybody else in our field. And what a
Yeah.
great way to use a term that really resonates with you and really just states what it is that you believe and what it is you're going to pass on and share with others. I mean, I can't think of anybody in I mean, I can't think of anybody that has ever gone through life without
Mhm.
struggle, grief,
Yeah.
all those things. No matter how great our life could be, there's still the struggles. I mean, and that's what makes the great is
Mhm.
going through the struggles and knowing what the other side looks like, right? And
Yeah.
then feeling this shift or this change or this evolution. And so I love it. I love the whole concept. You've built and sold multiple successful businesses over 35 years.
Mhm.
What were some of the biggest mindset shifts that allowed you to evolve through each chapter of your entrepreneurial journey?
Ooh, okay. So first business, I was 22
Wow.
and had no idea what I was doing. No idea. Um, so much so that I did things that if I knew better, I wouldn't have done. So I took risks that would not be of my recommended consulting or coaching today. And I definitely did things that were not normal in retail business. And I think what that advantage was, it was before social media. It was before the internet, really. So my tribe was literally names, addresses, and phone numbers on a legal pad.
Mm.
And I would call them when there was a special, or I would, leave a message and say, "Hey, I'm taking a group of 15 people to Innsbruck, Austria. You want to go on a snowboard trip?" And they would call back and say, "How much?" And that was the my version of the sales page back then. So I didn't know accounting, I didn't know inventory management, and I definitely didn't know hiring and delegation, but I knew cool products and I brought them from California to New Jersey, so they weren't available here yet. And like I said before the internet, you couldn't get cool stuff from California in New Jersey. So really kind of hit on something that young people wanted, and it gave me this opportunity to dive into business, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
That's super cool. So you were 22 when
Mhm.
when you started. I was 19 when I started my martial arts school. And
Wow.
as you were saying all the things, I was like, "Yep, that was me." Didn't know
Yeah,
business, didn't know. I mean, accounting kinda. I took an accounting class in high school.
yeah.
Budgeting, payroll, all the expenses. All I thought was, man, I love teaching martial arts
Mhm.
and I want to make a living doing this. I don't want to have to like go to work.
Yeah.
And like you said, you make all the mistakes and you do all the things
Mhm.
that your more mature and more experienced self would say, "What the heck are you doing?" But that's where the experience is gained.
Yeah.
Maybe the long road to gaining experience without a mentor, without a coach. I never had one of those. I didn't know what that was. I just
No,
kind of
I
I just
didn't
kind of
I didn't
mimicked.
either.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
mimicked what my instructor did, the people before me, and thought, well, if it worked for them, it'll work for me. That's not always the case.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot to that. But man, that's so super cool to kind of start now. Can you tell me about some of the other businesses that you did after
Yes.
that?
Yes. This was a time in my life that I call businesses for boyfriends. And whoever I was dating or married to, I helped them start a business. It was an absolutely absurd thing that I wanted to make everybody into an entrepreneur. And, I get a lot of laughs with that, but it was so true that I just wanted to take everybody on this entrepreneurial journey. I saw unique genius in people and encourage that unique genius. And I just so happened to, you know, date 3 people in a row that I helped start companies for. And I put an end to that with the last one, and that business is still in existence today. So the different businesses looked like a retail store that, sold snowboards and skateboards and clothing and sunglasses. The next business was in a totally different industry. It was actually lightning rods.
Hmm.
Go figure. I saw unique genius and an opportunity. And then the third business was somebody I was dating, and he had me to his warehouse that was full of sunglasses. And they were sunglasses that he imported from China, very cheap sunglasses, but the warehouse was huge. And I said, "Why aren't these in a store?" He's like, "Oh, we just wholesale them to other people who sell them." And we sat there and had lunch in the warehouse and kind of dreamt up a whole idea of a sunglass store. And that's still in existence today. And shout out to Paul Luca and Voot Sunglasses. I get all my glasses for free. And, I don't he doesn't ask really for business advice anymore. But he's been around for 30 years. And that's so incredible to me
Wow.
that I had a little part of that in the beginning.
So I want to back up a little bit. You talked
Mhm.
about in the first business, bringing things from California to New Jersey. Is that where you are? You're on the East Coast?
Yes. Yes. I'm
Okay.
in New Jersey.
And why? What? Because I'm in California. What made you
Mhm.
want to grab things from California and bring it to New Jersey?
Well, I was dating a pro skateboarder, so I
Oh,
just saw the need.
okay. Not Tony Hawk.
No, but I have met him.
All right. Very
Yeah.
cool. And so, where in your childhood and your young
Mhm.
adult life, where did you adopt or where did you gain that entrepreneurial spirit? What your parents, family?
No, no. Um, my dad was military and then corporate. My
Hmm.
mom was a stay-at-home mom. Uh, never dated anybody that was an entrepreneur. I think it was just something that was gonna give me freedom. I don't like being told what to do. So if anybody who knows me is listening, they're like, "Oh yeah, she doesn't like that." Um, so I thought it was a way for me to be more creative and not have a boss.
Hmm.
And I went to college to be a dental hygienist, and because it was practical, it was in need, I would make great money, I would get medical benefits,
Hmm.
and I did that alongside of entrepreneurship for a long time because of the stability and great income, but it was so boring to me. It was just, same exact thing, every patient, every hour, same routine, clean the room, next person. Yuck, boring. So I definitely feel like I need more excitement, more freedom, and I love the idea of being location independent, and I've done that off and on over the years. My son's in high school now, so, we're not going anywhere right now except on, you know, 5 vacations a year, and I can bring my computer and I can still work. That's freedom to me. So, very, very important for me to feel fulfilled and have that freedom.
I love it. Well, I can definitely relate to the not liking to be told what to do. Although, interestingly enough, being a martial artist,
Uh-huh.
discipline is such a huge part
Yeah.
of what we teach and what we preach and what we demonstrate. Although I think you nailed it with I like the freedom. I like the
Mhm.
freedom to choose how I run my business, what I do in my business. I'm now at
Yeah.
a point where when, I teach when I want to teach, not when I have to teach.
Mhm.
And it's such a great feeling. And I have a location, so I don't have the flexibility to just kind of bounce everywhere. But the great
Yeah.
thing is I could do a lot of my work, my podcast here from home. I do a lot of my, office work from right
Mhm.
here at this kitchen table. And it's nice. It's nice to
Yeah.
enjoy the home that we've built and the family that we have. My kids are still young, but they're young adults,
Mhm.
23 and 20. So, enjoying that time. So I
Yeah.
totally relate to that. Um, as a high performance athlete,
Mhm.
how did you see the connection between physical performance and business success?
Oh, it's kinda like the correlation between, business relationships and dating. There's so many similarities there for me. So,
Hmm.
as an athlete, you have to prepare before. You can't just wake up in the morning and decide you're gonna be an athlete today. There's preparation involved. There's wellness involved from how you eat, how you sleep, how you mentally prepare. And I think entrepreneurship is so, so similar because if you're mentally prepared for risk, for failure, you learn great lessons, you make strides in your business, you reach your goals faster. But I remember during the hustle of my early online appearances. 2010, I came into the online space with an already successful health coaching practice, and I somebody just said, "Oh, you should be on Facebook. You'll get more clients." And the overwhelm of that set in. So not only now did I have to have a Facebook group and know how social media worked and what do I post about and oh, what content? Oh, I need to do videos. I need to have a podcast and the list was so overwhelming that I actually got a little burnt out that first year and I thought is this what I have to do all the time on in the online space? I want to go back to my in-person business
Hmm.
and teaching fitness classes at the gym and clients just naturally came from that. So, it was more the overwhelm of everything I had to learn in the online space and then quieting the noise of the online space with every single person I was trying to either learn from or gain knowledge from, like, do I need to do this? Do I need to I needed to do everything according to Facebook.
Right.
Because it's everybody selling you something constantly. "Oh, you need to do this, and you need to do that," and all of that stuff just seems so important, and guess what? It's not. And, yeah, so now that's part of why I do what I do.
Excellent. I love it. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Just want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. But while we're taking this break, guys, if you are watching live and you're enjoying the show so far, do us a favor, share this post, share this video, follow us on YouTube at Master Motivation Podcast, and we'll be right back. But this is Raptor Extreme Karate. Hey guys, it's Jason Flame, host of the Master Motivation Podcast. I'm here with Suzanne Taylor-King, and I could see that you enjoyed that video as we were just talking about, performance training and
Yeah.
all the stuff. But guys, we've been talking about coaching in life, mind shifts in her entrepreneurial journey. We were just talking about physical performance and business success and how that correlates. So if you missed that, go back to the beginning, watch it again. And as you're watching live, drop us some comments and ask some questions. If there's anything that you'd like to know from Suzanne, would love to hear from you guys as well. So just jumping into the next part of our interview today, you work primarily with high performing leaders over 40. Why
Yeah.
that demographic, and what common challenges do you see them facing today?
I think the number one is the overworking and not taking care of themselves physically and emotionally, spiritually. And I think that for me, that happened to me. Sometime during COVID, I gained a lot of weight. I had an injury that kind of sidelined my cycling and my exercise. And I gained 50 pounds and I felt like, you know what? I was tired all the time. I wasn't sleeping well. There were some menopause things that you don't even want to know about. And then I didn't know what to do. And because of the way I was feeling, how that affected how I was showing up. That affected my energy. If I was giving a talk or on a podcast, it definitely affected my focus. And I noticed my income go down. And I thought, the funnels are still there. The I don't do paid advertising, but everything was still in place. The only thing that was different was my personal vibe. So, wow. So my energy is actually what is responsible for my income. And when I show up passionate, enthusiastic, dialed in, focused and connected to my clients, doesn't matter if I'm having a one-on-one conversation or I'm speaking to a group of 100 CEOs. If my energy is right, and I mean high vibe, connected, not stressed, not going into a conversation with expectations, I'm just being myself and showing up powerfully. Well, then I made great money. But now I'm showing up overweight, tired, lethargic, personal energy down, anxiety maybe even a little up because of the income drop. And it was just this connection. And that was right about the time when I said, I'm going to lean into calling myself a eudaimonologist, because if I'm going to work on me, and that's job one, everything else is not important. And it really reset the priorities for me.
Well, and let's dive into that a little bit deeper,
Mhm.
because we know that a lot of people are going through this, and it could be anywhere in life, really,
Yeah.
20s, 30s, and 40s. But I think that at that 40-year mark, because I'm now 51, at that 40-year mark, you've been grinding for probably
Mhm.
20 years. And
Yeah.
whether you're in the same job that you've been in for 20 years, or you've bounced from one to the next, I mean, all these things that come up, all these things that you talked about, we might gain a little bit of weight, we might have a little bit more anxiety, things are happening. But
Mhm.
when all that negative energy is bringing you down, it's a cycle, it's this downward cycle. And
Yeah.
then what did you do, or what can one do to reverse that cycle and get back on track?
Mm. Well, that's kind of a loaded question because I had a medical intervention, like a emergency happened. So when that emergency happened, like emergency surgery, um, I had a hernia that ruptured and I wasn't sure that that's what happened. But you end up in the ER and 20 minutes later, I'm in surgery. You kinda know it's serious.
Mhm.
Afterwards, I learned I almost died and that how serious it was. And I thought, well, I neglected that hernia for 10 years. It was there 10 years. And I was just like, don't need to do anything. Don't need to
Mhm.
do anything. And it was just this new era for me of putting me first. My son was a little older. My husband and I have been together over 20 years. Like it was time to have the year of Suzanne. And when I thought about that reinvention process, that was exciting for me because I love to just figure things out. And the number one was fix the sleeping, fix the food, and really recenter what I was doing with myself. And it was amazing to start that process. I'm still working on those things, because I don't believe we're ever done. I just try to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
But what I think was incredible that happened, because I was vulnerable about my journey, because I was honest with all of my clients who were with me at that time, because I actually taught a workshop about recentering and recommitting to fitness and nutrition and sleep and all the things. I
Mhm.
hired a menopause coach who has been an incredible influence on me. And right at that same time, my energy started to come back and fully believe I attracted my mentor into my life.
Mhm.
And she found me at a networking event. I was running and she messaged me, and she's been an incredible influence over me in the last 3 years. And then she introduced me to her mentor, which was another quantum jump, not only in my business, but in how I think. Like
Mhm.
nobody needs more information, right? I could give information away all day long. You need to change the way you're thinking. And that's what these 2 women have done for me over the last 3 years. And none of that would have happened had I not been on a quest to take better care of myself.
Yeah. Well, as a mother and
Mhm.
me as a father, we know that it's very difficult for us to take care of our kids or take care of our family when we're not taking care of ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And so when you're not at your best and you can't give everyone your
Mhm.
best, it's just that's
Yeah.
a no win, right? And
Yeah.
so by taking care of yourself, like you said, the sleep, the rest, the diet, dialing that in, because we live in a society of convenience.
Mhm.
And so we do everything, quick and easy, especially if we're grinding and working hard. It's like, oh, just stop,
Yeah.
get something quick to eat with no thought of how that's going to make me feel or affect my body over the course of time. I can remember when I think I was about 37. I was 245 pounds.
Wow.
And I had been an athlete my entire life, a martial artist that preached staying in shape and discipline
Mhm.
and all the things. And here I am, 37 years old, 245 pounds, still active. I figure I still go to the gym, I still work out, I still do things. But then, I'm kind of looking in the mirror, and
Yeah.
then I'm feeling kind of my energy, right? So kind of similar to what you were saying. And then, I just actually it was a Spartan race. I don't know if you're familiar, but
Yes, I've done one.
yep. So my youngest brother says, "Hey, let's go do a race." And it was an 8 mile. It was the super
Mhm.
Spartan, and I remember finishing that race feeling the worst that I had ever felt in a physical accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like I finished it,
Yeah.
but I felt terrible.
Mhm.
And I remember from that point right there, that was kind of my time that I said, I am never going to feel like this again.
Yeah.
And so over the course of the next couple of years, I started running more. I did many more Spartan races. I did a triathlon. I did a few half marathons. I eventually, within a couple of years, got down to 185 pounds. So I
Wow.
went from 245 to 185. And it was that mind shift of, God, man, I feel terrible. And I could tell
Mhm.
that everybody else around me could feel that I felt
Yeah.
terrible, you
Yeah.
know, and I wasn't at my best, so I wasn't able to be my best for everybody around me. I wasn't able to be the dad I wanted to be, the husband I wanted to be, you know,
Yeah.
active and energetic, and I couldn't be the role model and instructor. But you know, prior to that, I'll be honest, I didn't think there was really anything wrong until that race. So it's like it just takes that one
Yeah,
thing.
it's
For you,
yeah.
it was this medical emergency. For
Mhm.
me, it was just like, oh my God, I just feel this is terrible. So it was a
Well,
switch.
there was a point, um, before the medical emergency where I was giving a talk, and it was in person. It was my first in person after COVID, and COVID did something to me. I'm a very social person. I was used to giving talks and workshops all over my
Mhm,
area. Um, and when that ended, um, it also ended me teaching fitness classes as a hobby. And I'd remained doing that for one reason. Teaching 3 spin classes a week kept me accountable to
mm,
going to the gym. And I always was the mindset of, if I'm going to go and take an exercise class, I'm going to teach it so I get paid to be there. That way I show up. There's no
mhm,
excuses, right? If I'm going to get paid to teach something. And so that ended. And what was the pastime during COVID? A little too much drinking and a little too much eating, because there was nothing else to do. So right after COVID, I got this amazing keynote talk, and it was videotaped. It was the best talk I ever gave. It was funny. It was a new topic for me. I was talking about charisma and confidence in business. The audience laughed. I had a heckler, and I responded to the heckle, and it was good. It was so good. I was so in the zone. And then I got the video back, and I was like, "Oh, no way in hell I'm showing that to anybody." And I noticed what that felt like. Oh my gosh, am I embarrassed how I look? Not really, but I don't want anybody to see it. I don't want anybody to see me at 170 something pounds when the Suzanne everybody knows is normally 125. So it was about 50 pounds. And that's when I knew if I was feeling like I wasn't going to show it to anybody, then it was time to do something about it.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we all have these moments in time where,
Yeah.
you know, we just kind of reflect. And, you know, I think that's also being in a place in your life where you've had a level of success, and then you kind of take that step or two back. But you know what, that step or two back, you know what that does? All that does is catapult us to exceed where
Yeah.
we were before. And you know, not that I was excited about being 245 pounds, but I knew what it took to lose the weight. I knew what I needed to change.
Mhm.
And it wasn't all my food, it wasn't all my workout, it was in my mind. It
Yeah.
was in my mind what I needed to think and what I needed to say, because when I
Mhm.
was 245 pounds, I did not have a positive. Every time I looked in the mirror, it was shame, embarrassment, and I wouldn't share that with anybody. I didn't nobody really knew about that. You know, probably my wife. I know,
Mhm.
but I would just be so uncomfortable
Yeah.
in my own skin. And how do you even show up anywhere? I mean, it's, people can see through that smile, or see through that, you know,
Yeah.
I'll call it fake energy, right? But
Well, I think that was it. I think, this idea that if my internal thought, was, "I'm fat, I'm old, I'm ugly, I'm out of shape," and if that's repeating here, that has to be repeating in your energy out to other
mhm,
people. Um, and I really feel like negative thoughts about yourself are the most destructive in business, and being an athlete too, right? Um, and I felt like, well, the only way to conquer that is to do better every day, to literally be the person that I want to be every single day. So if I woke up tomorrow, and this was my decision moment, if I woke up tomorrow and I was in great shape and I was 125 pounds, what would I eat? What would I do? What would I think? And just do that now.
yeah,
Just be that. And the weight started to drop off. The mindset, the energy started to affect the behavior instead of behavior affecting energy.
right, right, right. Well, this leads right into the next discussion and conversation, which we kind of already addressed the answer, I believe. But positive psychology is a
Mhm,
big part of your philosophy.
mhm.
Um, what Give two practical tools or habits that listeners can apply right now to boost their mindset and their motivation.
I think hope is number one. Hope is such a strength to have. And what I mean by hope is, hope to me is about being prospective towards the future. One of my favorite Latin little tidbits of knowledge. Any word that starts with pro means to move forward. And prospection about your future, to be able to move forward with hope, is the greatest asset as an entrepreneur. So if I make a mistake today, and believe me, I make them all the time, it's not, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I made that mistake." Great. What do I need to do to never have that happen again? Or what did I learn from it? So that's a skill that you can develop over time, but you have to be aware of it. You have to understand that your mind is really in control of what you're thinking about something negative. And yeah, I've lost a ton of money in business. And when I think about, if I thought about how much I've lost, you would see the energy go out of me. Like, "Ugh." But instead, what did I learn from all of those losses? That becomes an asset
Yes.
for any of my clients. So I think that's the number one skill. And then secondly, the idea of human flourishing, and how it corresponds to business. Because have you ever hired somebody who was miserable? No. Um, have you ever referred business to someone who it feels icky or sleazy, or you've heard shystery things about? No.
Mm-mm.
So this idea of being the best version of myself, morally, ethically, um, athletically, that all comes from this desire to be that for me, be that for my son, my family, but also for those clients that I serve. And when people hang out with me, they know. They know the difference between somebody who actually cares about them, or somebody who's just trying to sell them something. And for me, that's really important. but I think it's a skill that I want to pass on to other people.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you know, the first one you said when you talked about hope,
Hmm.
hope is so powerful in
Yeah.
so many ways. And without getting into too many details and getting emotional, but last year spent a lot of my time with my wife in the hospital and
Hmm.
dealing with just a nasty disease, and she's overcome it and she's doing well and doing great. But
Yeah.
hope was what woke me up every day. Hope
Yeah.
is what got me moving every day. Hope was what said, let's get to the next hour, let's get to the next day, let's get to the next week, let's get to the next month, let's get to the next appointment. And that was so powerful to keep my mindset because I would talk to people and they'd say like, are you okay? Are you all right? Do you need anything? And I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm great. I mean, I really felt great and I felt
Yeah.
supported, which was amazing. But it was really hope and my faith that just kept me going. And as I looked forward to the future, as you saw in my video, I do a little pro wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't been as active. I started actually that was part of my change in dropping from 245 to 185 is because I decided I was going to chase a dream that I never got to do at 38 years old. I became a pro wrestler, and so I had a lot of over 100 wrestling matches over the course of 6
Wow.
7 8 years, and had a blast. But I've been struggling the last couple of years because during COVID stopped wrestling. I just and our school moved and lots of things changed in my life, and I haven't been back to it. But then I got a chance to go and be on a show in
Mhm.
December of 2023, and then missed last year, but I got a call this year and they're like, "Hey, how would you like to perform in December?" And I was
Mm.
like, and I swear, ever since that call, because I was like, I'm too old. My body's pretty much done,
Yeah.
doing that full time.
Yeah.
But the hope of getting back to it, and this is a couple months away, it like fuels me every day. I'm like so excited that I have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And I think that, like you said, that word hope is just so powerful. So great mindset and motivation boosts and practical tools we can use. We got one more break really quick, and I'm going to bring up, these guys. This is Jose Escobar and the Connected Leaders Academy.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
All right, again, I'm Jason Flame, host of the Master Motivation Podcast, talking with Suzanne Taylor-King. That was the Connected Leaders Academy. Thank you, Jose, for your support. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your group. Huge growth since CLA started. Super excited to see it. So we're back with Suzanne, and we've just been talking a lot about mindset, talked about a couple tools to help change that mindset and motivation. If you missed that last section, again, go back, take a look. While you're at it, share, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube at Master Motivation Podcast. So the next thing I want to talk about, Suzanne, is you describe your work as helping people rediscover their genius.
Mhm.
What's one story of a client who had a transformation that really captures that idea?
Oh, I always go to one of my favorites. Um, Somebody I've known for a long time, and we met for coffee. And I don't know what prompted the coffee, but I asked a question during that coffee, and I said, "When are you going to monetize this incredible following you have on social media. And he looked at me and he was like, huh? And I said, you've been doing a live video on Facebook for 5 years. And the videos are phenomenal. They're a positive mindset, like 3-minute video every day. For 5 years. And he said, well, I don't know how to do that. And I said, well, I do. And he looked at me and he said, what do you think? I said, I think you're sitting on a Facebook group of 6,000 people who are waiting for you to offer them more than 3 minutes a day. And as we talked about it and the ideas flowed out of me for him, I watched his eyes think, could I actually make money doing this? Could this be my retirement? Could this be my next thing that I do in life? And we've been together ever since. He's now has a membership group and, more of a following and more social media, and he's making money from sharing his message of positivity with the world. And stories like that over and over and over again. Intellectual property is such an incredible thing with what I do. And then, combining that with your unique genius and personality and how that turns it into a product or a service or a book or a podcast or anything, really. The possibilities are endless. And I love that I get that creativity with my clients as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Well, I would love to talk with you about a couple of those things, just because my eyes started getting a little big as I was listening.
Mhm.
Because people have asked me many times about when are you going to monetize this
Mhm.
podcast, or when are you going to monetize, and I have a career as a martial artist. I have other streams of
Yeah.
income, but I've always used the answer. My answer has always been, as soon as I start getting paid for it, it becomes a job and I lose it as a
Mhm.
hobby. So I worry about that, but we can talk
Yeah.
about that offline a little bit. Next
Yeah.
question I want to ask is, with all the noise around hustle culture, right? And
Mhm.
we talked about this a little bit before. How do you personally define high performance without burning out?
Oh gosh. I think number one for me is no more than 4 hours a day scheduled with other people. And if it's a client facing day, that means only 4. And the rest of the day is for me. And I think this idea started from Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week. Um, and I just really thought, well, how can I do what I do in less time? And so, of course, I have a great assistant. I have an incredible team who is right now building a brand new homepage for me that I designed. I want this, this, and this, and then they go and do it. You don't have that in the beginning of
Mhm.
entrepreneurship. So I wanted to be more like my husband, honestly. He has 70 projects sometimes, but has such a defined calendar. So I went on a quest to figure out calendar blocking, getting things done. I read the book, Getting Things Done by David Allen, and I just fell in love with this idea of being more um, dialed in with my hours. And what does that look like? So now everybody thinks I'm on social media all the time, which I always love when I get that question. Like, oh my God, how are you on social media all the time? I'm like, oh, I'm not. It's an illusion. Do you like the illusion? And everybody is always amazed when I say, oh, that's all scheduled in advance. One day a month, I block off 4 hours. It's typically the first Monday of the month, 4 hours, and I do all my content for the month because I like doing it. Number 1, I don't want to delegate my tone of voice to anything that I haven't programmed. So I don't want my assistant writing content for me. I do everything with AI and tools that I've made for myself, super geeky that way. And I just sit down and I create everything for the month and then I schedule it. So really being more productive with the calendar. And like today, I had office hours today. I have this with you today. And then I have one other client. And the 3 hours I had this morning was all for my learning. So my personal development, my exercise, my meditation. I made an incredible little avocado toast with some scrambled eggs this morning. Well, I wouldn't have had time to do that if I was working from 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. till 5 like I used to. So it was really about getting the priorities straight and then dialing in that calendar.
Yeah. I'm surrounded by people, and as we look at social media, and hear, hustle culture, hustle, hustle, hustle. Everybody, if you're not up at 5 a.m., you're not working hard enough. If you're not up uh working all these hours, and like I was into that for a bit. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
if this is what being successful means, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And I find myself now where I feel guilty because I feel like I'm not working enough,
Mm,
because like I woke up this morning, I made breakfast for my wife, got my shower, did all my personal stuff, did my morning reading, I have my podcast with you, I'm gonna go train from 12 to about 1:30. I'm gonna get a massage afterwards.
nice.
And then I have one private lesson, and I'm like, man, that's like an easy day. But
Yeah.
that's kind of my days, lately. And I
Same.
feel guilty because I hear all this noise of, if you're not up at 5 a.m., you're lazy. And like I have never had to wake up at 5 o'clock because I don't have to teach until 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's been my life forever. It's
Yeah.
changed over the years. But when you talk to people,
Mhm.
and you said the scheduling and the blocking, and how do you get people to really understand that really works? Because I try to tell people
Mhm.
my schedule, they're like, how do you even do all of that?
Well,
And
I
I,
think that
and the thing is I'm the
yeah.
chairman of our chamber of commerce. I
Huh?
volunteer on our Rotary Club. I was at a leadership academy yesterday for an 8-hour course. I mean,
Mhm.
I do things, but like sometimes people, they're like, do you even work?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Same.
yeah, I
Same.
do.
And I think it's 2 things for me. Um, my mentor, Mary, suggested to me 2 years ago to still be approachable, warm, caring, all the things that I stand for, but don't be accessible to everyone. And I was
Mm,
like, "Oh, what does that look like?"
yeah.
So that was the first question. How can I still be me, but not accessible to everyone? So, like, right now, my phone isn't even like, I can't see my phone right now because 'cause I'm here with you. Um, my computer notifications are off because I'm here with you. So, that's one way. Be present, be where your feet are no matter what. And then the second thing for me that was really incredible, there's a guy by the name of Sahil Bloom. He wrote a book called The 5 Types of Wealth last year. And the first type of wealth is time wealth. And I read about this concept and I thought, yes, I want to be time wealthy. And what that looks like for me is that at 2:30 every day, I go and pick up my son from school. He could walk home, but that's our time. I
Hmm.
go and pick him up. Um, the other thing time wealth has done for me, it's allowed me to have conversations with people that are rich and abundant and long. I can every week, I give conversations to people who need them. That's how I end up with clients. That's how I create clients. That's how I create guests for my podcast. And I have people say, "Oh my God, thank you so much. It was so generous of you to give me that time. It was so helpful." Yes, because I'm time wealthy. I'm not in that hustle and grind. I can only give you 15 minutes. No. If it's if it's something you need and it's knowledge I have to give you 90 minutes. Now, of course, if you need more beyond that, then you're going to hire me if that's what you need. But this idea of time wealth and being able to pass that on to people, the person I always mentor somebody at any given time, sometimes two people. The girl I'm mentoring right now said to me, "I just found somebody to mentor and pass it on to." She's only been with me for 2 months, and she's already mentoring someone else and paying that time forward. That's why I do what I do.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. I've been fortunate to have a couple mentors in my life that
Mhm.
um, I didn't realize it as a young man,
Yeah.
that when they would have a conversation with me for an extended period of time, that was giving me that gift of their time. Sometimes I thought it was a lecture. Sometimes I thought I might have been in trouble.
Yeah.
But what I realize now is that that time where I was pulled aside was, very generous of them. And like you, it is my mission and my goal to mentor my instructors, my children, my people that I surround myself with, because I was given that gift of time. I was given that gift of mentorship, and I feel so strongly that it's important to pass that on, because if we can all help each other in one small way, I mean, how much greater would we all be, better for it.
Well, it's making me, like, nostalgic about my first mentor, my first boss, who was a dentist. He was my family dentist, Dr. Timms. He's now retired, and he was so instrumental in the way I treat other people. I mean,
Mm,
he taught me more things about dentistry than I learned in college, going to school for it, because it's really about the people and how you
mhm.
treat others and how you be a good coworker and how to be a good boss. And so much I learned from him. And I used to babysit his children who are now both doctors, which makes me feel really old. But this idea that he spent time, he invested time in me because he saw something in me as a 16-year-old and gave me a job and encouraged me to go to school for dental hygiene. Probably would have encouraged me to go to dental school as well, even though I was more into snowboarding at the time than going to dental school. But those people who pour into you time wise, you really, it's such a gratitude space for me when I think about those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Last question, and we're getting ready to get to the end. So if you're watching live, you have any questions, this is your last chance. Drop your comments and let us know. But looking ahead, Suzanne, what's the big evolution for you, personally or professionally, and how do you hope to inspire others through it?
AI enablement has been on my forefront for the past 2 years, studying, learning. I have 2 AI mentors that I am all in their mastermind groups, diving into tools and strategies and consulting. And I think it's this opportunity for us to grow as humans. And everywhere I go, wherever I give a talk, no one is using it like I'm using it. Group of nonprofits I spoke to a couple weeks ago, nobody was really using it. Group of CEOs with a Vistage group that I spoke to, nobody was using it. And I just think it's just this open frontier of opportunity, and I'm having so much fun being a geek about learning the different platforms and the tools and layering them on top of each other. It's just amazing.
So on the other side of that coin, because I agree, I was what I'm about to say is, people think of like Skynet, they think about Terminator.
Mhm.
As soon as I hear AI, that's like
Yeah.
first thing that comes to my mind. And in the beginning, I was like, I don't know. And then
Mhm.
like I just started hearing more and more and talking more and more, and I probably haven't even scratched the surface on what I can do, but I do use it a fair amount for content, for organization, for presentations, all the things.
Mhm.
There's a lot still to learn. What do you say to the people that are still like afraid of diving in?
Uh, I'd ask if they have a cell phone. Do they have a smartphone? Well, that was intimidating at first. I
Right.
remember getting one with all the apps and the buttons, and I was like, "Oh my god, what is this?" Like, um, I didn't wanna give up my BlackBerry, you know? Um, and I think back to the computer. Like, my first business, I didn't have one. By the time I had my 3rd business, oh, computer inventory and barcodes, and, like, I had to learn all of that. So I think it's just another one of those times for us.
Yeah. Um, it's, like you said, the phone, the computer, these are all things that have come about. I think what some people, and by the way, thank you, Chris, for commenting. He
Yeah, thank
says
you, Chris.
AI enablement and Suzanne were the reasons that he joined the group, so he loves it.
Mhm.
um I think what people are, like I'm in a position where, my job, I don't think AI is ever going to take over my job, right? Like no
No,
one's going to teach martial arts by AI. And AI will never replace human connection. It just
no.
never, never, never will. So explain the difference between like replacing and
Mhm.
just helping us facilitate some of our needs.
Yeah, so I think that's what it is. That's why I call it AI enablement, because you won't lose your job to AI. My clients tend to be coaches, consultants, service providers, podcast hosts, authors, speakers, online entrepreneurs. You're not going to lose your job to AI per se. But somebody who knows AI and how to use it effectively will take priority over you. So there's visibility, now there's AI SEO, which, oh, I'm just diving into that. It's incredible to think about. And so I think knowing the tools to use, and I'm not saying you have to go out and learn all the tools. You don't. That's my job. Like, I literally play with 5 new tools a week. And I make the internal judgment like, "Oh, that's cool. I don't need it." And it either goes onto my list for other people for use cases or gets discarded, and I don't ever look at it again. And it's this fast moving discernment that is required as an entrepreneur, I believe. And so when 5 new tools come this way from, a newsletter, I say, okay, this one, I put time on my calendar to play with. There's one I'm playing with today, Sora, and I'm going to play with that and I'm going to see what I can create with it. And let's see how easy it is. Let's see how it can be incorporated into my content creation. And if the answer is no, well, then it's just knowledge I have. It's
Mhm.
just awareness, but it doesn't mean I have to use it in my business. And so that's real freedom for my clients when they think about, well, I'm in people that are in my AI mastermind group and we talk about a new tool or a new thing we can do using 3 different tools and the way I layer them on top of each other. And the people who attend either say, "Oh, yeah, that's for me. I need to learn that and use it," or "I don't need that in my business." There's no half in, half out. You either need it or you don't. So think about the task that you dread the most in your business, or the thing that you're doing that's just not quite modern or edgy enough. And typically that's PowerPoint presentations. When I see the lame presentations that are out there, they're not interactive, they're not attractive. Well, AI can do such an incredible job with that. And you will look like a trendsetter if you use AI to make your presentations for you.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
just simple things like that, I think, can
Yeah.
really make a difference.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that. And I bet we could continue this conversation and talk for a really long time. But I know that you've got to get on with the rest of your day and take care of what you got to do. And I know that the listeners
Yeah.
are probably moving on. So, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation today with Suzanne. Please, once again, go to YouTube and subscribe to Master Motivation Podcast. Suzanne, where can people follow you and find you online?
Suzanne Taylor-King.com. I'm most active on LinkedIn, and I do a little bit on Facebook and a little bit on Instagram. But I have an incredible newsletter on Substack, and you can subscribe there, SuzanneTaylor-King.substack.com, and even an AI newsletter that's written by AI in a persona.
Very cool. And I'm going to throw this back up here. You put this in the comments. So if you guys would like to join Suzanne today, 4 p.m. Eastern, can you tell us what this is about?
It's not today. I don't know why that came up.
Oh, okay. My bad. Then I'll take that back down.
It's the fourth Thursday every month. I host a networking event.
Okay.
Just message me and I'll get you an invite.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sorry about that.
That's
All right,
okay.
guys. Well, that's it for today. Suzanne, thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
I'll be sending you a message very shortly. But I wish everybody a great weekend, and we'll see you next week on the next edition of Master Motivation Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.